This is Reed Florine, and I want to share with you some product creation basics. So first off, you're probably wondering, why internet marketing? I assume if you're watching this video, you're probably a newbie. So I'm just gonna, cover a little bit of the basics here to get you going. This is kind of what interested me in internet marketing when I started 10 years ago. Sales can be made 24/7, so you can put up something on the internet and you can keep getting sales for it all day long. You don't have to be working for that money. Also, when you create a product or you drive traffic to something that's making sales, you kind of get paid for the work over and over and over again. You kind of do the work once and you just keep making money. Young, old, anyone can do this. I started at 13 and started making money. I'm now 23. I'll be 24 in April, and I've been making money online since the beginning. Yeah, I've had times where I haven't made a ton, but I've learned a lot along the way. I've also seen a lot of people that are either approaching retirement age or they're actually retired and they're making money online. I've seen other young people make money. I've seen people with families make money. I've seen a bunch of people make money with the internet. It really it knows no limits on your age, so there's no excuse for that. Also, especially when you have your own products, you kind of make money helping people with your passion, because why would you create a product on something you're not at all interested in? You have to have some sort of interest in it in order to spend the time to create the product. Also, you get geographic freedom. For instance, I have my own 31-foot Winnebago RV that I could go anywhere in the United States with, and just drive down the highway and park at a campground and just stay. And I've got internet anywhere I go in the country. So I wanted to go out and prove that you could just do this anywhere. I bought that in, I think it was June of 2009, and I've been in it ever since. And so far so good. It's I think I actually think my sales have gone up considerably since getting the RV. So it's kind of interesting how that works. A lot of businesses, you would think that by traveling all the time and by excuse me, by sort of being in vacation mode all the time, um, you'd have a hard time making money. And brick and mortar businesses, it'd be almost impossible to do that. But the internet, as long as you have an internet connection, you can do your work anywhere. Also, time freedom. Most of the time, I spend my day doing what I want to do, when I want to do it, with whom I want to do it, and most of my days have nothing to do with work. I'll goof off with friends. I'll hang out with people. I'll go see my parents. Um, I've got a little son of my own, so I hang out with my son. I do a bunch of things like that and just kind of have fun all day. And then, I might check some emails, or, if I've got a phone call, I might return that, and, things like that. Or, if I want to give myself a raise, I'll, create a product like this and just kind of go from there. But, those are some of the real benefits that really interested me in internet marketing. And I think, you can use those if, perhaps you have a spouse or significant other, or other people in your family that just think this is a stupid idea. And I understand, where they're coming from. They probably, did the whole high school thing, and they went to college, and, worked in the same job for 20, 30, 40 years, and, they're afraid of change, and they don't, they won't want to see you get hurt and things like that. And they have good intentions, but, this is going to sound bad, but good intentions never made anyone rich. Now, I'm not saying, be a bad person. I'm just saying that there's a difference between entrepreneurs and people that work, at a regular job. And, the difference often is a bank account. Yeah, probably a bad joke, but, it kind of gives you an idea. So let's go to the next slide. Why information products? Here's a few more benefits to use in your arsenal against the naysayers. You kind of create the product once and you can get paid over and over and over again forever. That's, for instance, let's say you were to create a product on, say, dog training. Well, my guess is people are going to have dogs, this year, next year, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, people are still going to be getting dogs, 100 years from now. You kind of get the idea. Theoretically, you could create a product once and get paid over and over and over again. Now, realistically, I don't expect a product to be a bestseller for 100 years straight. Um, you're not gonna write the Bible or anything. You're not gonna have something that's gonna have that kind of popularity, or even a Shakespeare novel. You're not gonna have something that's going to have that kind of popularity and be around for that long. It's probably not going to happen, just being realistic. But there's no reason that you couldn't create a product 1 year and then have it sell for a few years, and then when sales start to dip, you might make a few adjustments or improvements to the product, and then might be able to re-release a 2015 edition, for instance, and it'd be all new and improved, and it's basically the same content, but you've made a few adjustments, you've added some more stuff that you learned, maybe you did some interviews, things like that you kind of put in there, maybe some new videos that just make it more unique. Also, you can reuse and repurpose the content. For instance, let's say I create a PowerPoint presentation like this. I can make a video of the presentation, so I can offer the PowerPoint itself. I can make a video of the presentation like I'm doing right now. I could pay someone to transcribe everything that I say in the PowerPoint, and they can turn that into like a PDF that someone could download, so it would be an ebook. I could take the ebook and then I could break down each slide into an article. I could release each slide and put those maybe on like YouTube and use them as little promotional clips to promote products of mine. Different things like that that you can do that can really help you make a lot more sales from doing the work once. Also, you could sell the rights to your content. This would be offering reseller rights or private label rights. So you'd go out there and you create something, and then maybe once you start to see that sales are going down a bit, you would go out there and you'd say, hey, I've got this product that I've made $117,000 with or whatever, and then you say, would you like to have a business in the box that you can use, and you can sell this product yourself, and then you might sell the rights for a couple $100, and you might get 100 people to take you up on it, and that's a good way to make some extra money, maybe some extra seed money that you can put into another product of yours or market another product of yours. You could compile a bunch of content together and then sell it for a higher price. For instance, you could create kind of a home study program where you might have videos and audios and interviews and little reports and all sorts of stuff that you put together, where any one of those things you might have had a hard time selling for $100, but together you might be able to sell them for $500 or $1,000 or $200, whatever your market can bear, and that's a lot more money that you can make. Also, when you make information products, it kind of turns you into the expert, and when people perceive you as the expert, it makes your job of selling a lot easier, because people buy from people they know, like, and trust. And if other people are telling you, your prospects that they know you, that they like you, and that they trust you, and they consider you to be the go-to person, that trust just kind of transfers over to you, and the prospects want to buy from you. So what are a couple types of products that are hot sellers? Ebooks, special reports, white papers, any sort of report like that. I don't recommend creating like a physical book right away, just because there's more work involved in that, and there's not as high profit margins. That's something that you could do down the road, but I definitely recommend doing like an ebook or special report. Videos are always hot. It could just be a video of you talking into a camera. It could be doing a PowerPoint like this. It could be doing a lot of different things, but videos are always a big deal. Audios, interviewing someone or just speaking into a mic. Transcripts of those audios are always nice things to have. A home study course, basically you put those 4 other things we talked about, you put them together and you sell it for a higher price. You put it in a binder and you make a bunch of sales of that. The first product that I actually put a lot of time in was a home study course, and I sold that for $1,000. And right off the bat, I think I sold around 50 of them before I even made the content, which is kind of a nice tactic if you can pre-sell something before you even make it. And then the next I sold like another 50 or so, speaking at on teleseminars and webinars, and speaking at a few events, just kind of getting some practice. So that product made around $100,000 for me. I didn't put a ton of time in, but it was a great learning experience, and basically it was just a compilation of a bunch of other stuff. Seminar recordings. If you start speaking at seminars, or you host your own seminar events, you can get the recordings made, and that's something that you can use over and over again, and make some money. Basically you're repurposing the content from the seminar and you're putting it into something. For instance, if it's your own seminar, you might have 10 or 20 speakers. Well, that's a home study course right there. You get the transcripts made and you got a home study course. Now, bear in mind, I found that seminar recordings don't sell the greatest, so you might have to spice it up a bit and make it sound a little bit more interesting, because a lot of people are kind of, a seminar, boring, but if you can say, we got 12 of the best experts on XYZ to come together and, share their #1 secret on whatever, then, that sounds a little bit better than, oh, we hosted this seminar, back in March, and, yeah, you weren't able to make it, so here are the DVDs. And a lot of people are like, no. So if you can, just make it sound, I guess for lack of a better word, sexier, people will be more interested in that. Picking a niche. Basically, you want to pick a niche that you've spent money on before, preferably if you've bought information products on. For instance, for me, I know I've bought a lot of products on internet marketing. I've bought self-improvement products. I've bought some fitness stuff. I've bought some of the dating stuff to see how their back ends work. I've purchased a lot of finance stock stuff. So those are some examples of some niche markets that I've spent money in, that I confidently feel that I could go into those niche markets and create a product in, and I know I'd make money because I see that there's a lot of competition in those niches, and there's a lot of different products in those niches, so I know that there's money being spent. Also, you need to change your mindset here. A lot of people think competition's a bad thing. I know when I started, I was like, oh no, somebody else has the same idea as me, or they have a similar product as mine, and I just thought it was a horrible thing, and then I just kind of stopped right there. And now I've learned that, if there's other people that have similar things to you, or if you have competition out there, is a good thing, because you can make your products that much better, and oftentimes you can get the competition to promote you if you give them a high enough percentage of the sales that they make. And you're not going to make those sales without them, so you might as well give them a cut. You're going to make a lot more money, with the list of customers that you can promote to over and over and over again. So, you want to look for high-priced products. For instance, the real estate, stock market niches, internet marketing niche. All those niches have big ticket products that are $500, $1,000, $2,000, $10,000, things like that, because it shows that there's a lot of people that are willing to spend a lot of money to go to the next level. And when you create products, you always want to think. One of my friends, Dr. Ben Mack, he has a book called Think 2 Products Ahead. So when you create a product, you always want to think ahead and see, what's the next thing you could offer. One of the things, probably should have added this, but one of the things that I'll talk about here is a product funnel. And think of a triangle, but have it upside down, so the base is at the top. So the base is always the longest part, the big part. So you have the big part up top, and that'll be your free product, and or your free or low price product. And then the next, that attracts a lot of people. So it's like this. And then the next level would be people that spend maybe $50 or maybe $100 on a video or a report or something, and that's fewer people that buy that. And then the next tier would be kind of the small part of the triangle, and that would be people that might be buying like a home study course or a coaching program for you, and that might be $200 up to, I don't know, $1,000 or whatever. And that just kind of gives you an idea that if you have more things in mind for later on, you can make a lot more money. Now, I'm not saying you have to have those things immediately, because I don't really recommend having those things immediately, because a lot of people need the experience of making a few sales online, getting that confidence boost up there, because there's a lot more that goes into it. It's a lot more work to create something that's going to be hundreds of dollars or thousands of dollars compared to something that is going to be free. You need to over deliver. So, and you also need to make sure that you're making money in that niche before you spend a ton of time. I mean, what's the point of spending hundreds if not thousands of hours creating something when you don't know if it's going to sell? So I would start building a list for free and having maybe some low price stuff, and just kind of get familiar with this first. Researching your competition. You could use the Google AdWords external keyword tool, and you can research how many searches a month for things, and what other related searches there are for your niche, so you kind of know what the marketplace is looking for. You could check Google searches of your own. You could kind of type in some of those key phrases yourself, kind of see what sites pop up for stuff. Another thing I should recommend here is now this maybe isn't so necessary for internet marketing products, but definitely for like dog training products or dating products or finance products. You could go on like Amazon and see what the table of contents are for various books, because that will give you an idea. Another thing would be going on ClickBank and looking at information products in your niche. And this will work with any niche, and see what bullet points they bring up of what they're going to teach. So what does your market want? You can go to forums and you can find out what people are asking. Just kind of look for the questions that people are asking, kind of write those down, and that'll kind of give you an idea. You could run an AdWords campaign, and basically run the survey that you could basically ask people, what's your number one question on X, and then they would tell you, and you might have to give them something in return, maybe offer them a free copy of your product when it's done. Whoop-de-doo, it's not going to hurt you any. They're giving you real relevant information. So what you do is you just have a little question box, and you ask for their name and email, and you start building a list of people that are interested in this. And yeah, they're not going to buy this product because you're going to give it to them, but you can sell them other products of your own or affiliate products. Basically, look at other people's products and kind of incorporate what they teach and just make yours a little bit better. For instance, one thing you could do is you could buy a lot of the top selling products in your niche and just see what they have, and you can make yours a little bit better and see what ways you can improve on it. And that's something that will help you win over more customers, because if people see that your product's around the same price and it offers 10 times more value than the next guy, well, you're probably going to start stealing market share away from them. Here's some fast product creation techniques. One of the easiest, that's probably the easiest product actually to create, is an interview. You find an expert, or you have one of your buddies interview you on a topic, and you just record that. You sell that as a downloadable product. You could do a Camtasia recording of your screen. This is a great way to kind of show, for instance, say it's an internet marketing product, you could show people, how to set up a PayPal account. You could show people how to sign up for ClickBank. You could show people how to submit an article, how to set up a website, how to upload stuff to the website, stuff like that. And that's something that you could sell every single day, because there's all sorts of people that don't know how to do that. You could do a flip video camera, and basically that's just it could be any video camera, but a flip is easy to use. Basically, it's a little handheld camera that's very small that you can just kind of walk around with and make simple little videos, and then you just plug it into your computer and you can upload the video immediately, and you don't have to really deal with any of the technical stuff. So it's really good for someone who's not really into like film production and things like that. And to frankly be honest with you, I found that a lot of people don't really care. A lot of people are out there looking for the content. If they can get content that's superb and really helps them, they're more than willing to deal with a few camera shakes and things like that. You don't need, some camera stabilization system, spend tens of thousands of dollars on Hollywood quality production stuff. Yeah, that might change down the road. I do expect products to get better and better as this market matures. But right now, look at the kind of stuff people look up on YouTube, and they're satisfied looking at a lot of that filth. People aren't really that worried about production quality, and I think that's going to be the way for at least several years. You just want to give out good quality content that really helps people, and that's better than what most people can do. You could record a presentation. For instance, I'm recording this presentation I'm recording it on a Mac. I'm using ScreenFlow, but on a PC you'd use Camtasia. You could also use Camtasia on Mac. There's a Camtasia just released, or TechSmith just released Camtasia for Mac. You could edit a private label rights product. There's a ton of private label rights products. This is something I do all the time because it's just an easy way to get something going. Basically, you take an ebook that you find. Let's say you find a book. Well, we'll go with the dog training theme. We've talked about that. You find a product on dog training, and then maybe it's an ebook, and maybe you spice it up a little bit, and maybe you make it specific for, I don't know, golden retrievers. And say it's just a broad dog training book. Then you say dog training for golden retrievers, something like that, and maybe you add a little bit of tidbits on golden retrievers, and you maybe put some pictures of golden retrievers in there, and then you sell that. And gee, let's say you have a golden retriever. What ebook are you going to spend more money on? Are you going to buy the general How to Train Your Dog, or are you going to buy the book that says How to Train Your Golden Retriever? I have a feeling they're going to buy the How to Train Your Golden Retriever book. Another thing I don't think I added here is public domain. Now this is something that you'll need to consult a lawyer with, but basically books that are published a long time ago, like 100 years ago or so, oftentimes they don't have the copyright anymore. So you could tweak those books and sell those. Now, I don't know how much money you're legitimately going to make with that, but I do know there is a company called Walt Disney, and they make these animated films of stories that are hundreds of years old, and he seems to be doing quite well. It seems like the Walt Disney brand is kind of everywhere, and they're just using public domain content, getting their team of screenwriters together to make the story pretty interesting for the young kids, make it a little hip for a new generation, I guess, and then they have a team of very talented artists that create this, and get a team of wonderful musicians. I'm sure you've probably seen a Disney movie. They always have very catchy songs, and they put it all together, and then they market the heck out of it, and so much that they've got Disney World and Disneyland and all this merchandise everywhere that all the kids just want to buy. So if you want to model somebody and kind of see what they do to make public domain interesting, Walt Disney is probably uh, the #1 company to model for that. Another thing you could do is just talk into a microphone and get it transcribed. Basically, you just record yourself giving a few tidbits, kind of just lecturing into a microphone, then you pay someone to transcribe it. That's a great way to get a book created, because I know a lot of people don't want to type. Also, if you have trouble typing, you could get like Dragon Naturally Speaking, and basically you just have a headset, and then you just type. It types while you talk. So I've heard that people can talk about 5 times faster than they can type. So you do have to make some minor adjustments and edit, because sometimes it really messes up and writes down the strangest words for things. But it's a good way, if you really struggle, if you're like a one-fingered typist or a two-fingered typist that just hunts and pecks. Well, preferably I'd recommend learning how to type, but in the meantime, you might want to use something like that. And that's, I have one. I don't really use mine, but I do have one of those, and I'm thinking it was somewhere between $100 and $200, and it's definitely something that when I first got it, it was a really cool novelty and a lot of fun, but I prefer to type myself. But a lot of people, might prefer to do that, and that might be something you prefer to do. And when you think about it, all these little things that you could invest in. Camtasia is probably the most expensive thing. I think that's like $300 or $400. ScreenFlow for the Mac is $100. I think Camtasia for the Mac is $100 right now. But all these things are pretty reasonable to get going with, so you could theoretically create a product on the cheap. In fact, you might have all the tools you need at your place to create a product that you can use, that you could sell, for a very high price. You might be able to sell it for $27, $47, $97, $197, whatever your market's going to be able to bear, and you're going to be able to make a lot of this money back. A lot of people might scoff at investing in a flip camera, which I think is around $100 or so, or $150, somewhere around there, and they might be like, "Oh, that's too much money." But when you think about it, what if you use that flip camera like once, only once, and you made a product that you can sell for $100? You don't have to sell a whole lot of those to make your money back. Driving traffic. This is something a lot of people struggle with. I'm just going to cover a little bit here because this is not the purpose of this presentation. My #1 traffic method is by using JV partners and affiliates to promote my products. Basically, I go out there and I find the top guys in the specific niche, and I convince them to promote my stuff, and I give them a hefty affiliate commissions. So typically, I'll give them 50%, maybe a little bit more, for selling something of mine. And I make the money back because I get sales I never would have gotten, and I build a list of customers that I never would have had, and that helps you make a lot more money. In fact, I'd venture to say 99%, almost 100, because I know I've gotten some traffic from articles and videos and things like that. I don't spend a dime on traffic, but almost 100%. It's just shy of 100% because I've tried a few other things. Has been from JV partners and affiliates, and I run a pretty successful business online. Usually in my underwear, just doing what I want to do, and money comes in and day out. And it's all thanks to having JV partners. So you really need to get your mindset right about this and focus on JV partners and building those relationships, because I gotta tell you, I tried a bunch of other methods and I didn't see real repeatable success day in and day out until I worked with JV partners. So I highly, highly, highly recommend you use JV partners and affiliates. Now, another traffic method, once you have a list, is send stuff out to it. And I send stuff out to my list pretty much every day, and I make sales every day from my list. So build a list. Um, you know, I'd say that that's my number two source of traffic, but I completely control it. I can send out an email and have a few thousand clicks go out just from sending out an email. That's pretty cool when you realize that you send out an email and you can get a town, or a pretty small town, but a town to click on something, and that's amazing that you have that kind of control um, over that kind of influence over people just from sending them an email. I think that's just a fascinating thing. So definitely build a list. Here's a short conclusion. All of my money comes from products of mine or promoting other people's products. So create products. It's a very valuable skill that a few people possess, and it really is what puts you into the big leagues. And you also need to realize, because I get this a lot from a lot of people, they seem to think that they're not smart enough or they're not an expert on something, but in reality, I actually learned this at a very young age. An old guy came up to me when I was in high school, and he was probably like 80 or so, and he just walked up to me and he said, "We're all educated dummies. We're all educated idiots," something like that, and it stuck with me over the years. I was probably like 13 or something when he came up to me, and I'd never seen the guy before, and it's just something that stuck with me my entire life from that point on, and it's something that I like to share with other people because I firmly believe that he's right. There are things that that I have no idea about, and I would be willing to spend big money on, and there's things I know that I'm sure you'd be willing to spend big bucks on. So everyone out there is an expert. Go out there, figure out what you're an expert on, figure out what you're passionate about, and then create those products and market the heck out of them.